Good Thursday evening, high school sports fans. Joe Gillaway with Town Gazette Sports live from the Orchard Street studio. And this is episode 34 of our weekly podcast, Gazette Sports Chat, where we'll get to know participants from various realms of the high school sports world, the student athletes who play the games, the coaches who coach them, and others connected in different ways to the entire experience. We'll introduce you to tonight's guest in just a moment as soon as we're done thanking those responsible for bringing you tonight's show. Our Town Gazette Sports Platinum sponsors, and they are Rickabaz Electric, Payer Apparel, Ted's Bar and Grill, Freedom Financial Wealth Management, the Tire Mart, Team PA, AAU Basketball, Tonino's Pizza, American Legion Post 272, Hoffman Ford, Capital Region Insurance Agency, Modern Imprint, Sam Hartley Decking, Crystal Bob at Howard Hanna Real Estate, and Underdog Sports Bar and Grill. Thanks, as always, to those great local businesses for their continued support of Town Gazette Sports and our area's student athletes. Upcoming on Gazette Sports Chat, we've been talking about this unified bocce thing for weeks now, maybe a month or so, and we're going to put it together. There's a sport, a PIAA sanctioned sport called unified bocce. It became officially sanctioned over the last couple of years. I'm not sure when, but it's a PIAA Special Olympics collaborative sport which pairs intellectually disabled students with their standard curriculum classmates to form teams who compete against schools in neighboring communities and beyond. We'll chat with head coaches from Central Dauphin East, and Cumberland Valley High Schools, along with some of their student athletes. We're just working on nailing down a date. We think it's going to be the 18th of this month, but we'll let you know. We're excited about that. I was just out watching I think it was their equivalent of districts. There was like 8 teams there, East Pennsboro. I had a great time watching it. High School Hoops recap show. We recap boys basketball every Sunday night at 6. We have 4 more shows, the first being this Sunday night, and we will address what happened in the opening round of states on that show. And then we have Julie Walker from Peyton Walker Foundation. She's kind of a friend of Town Gazette Sports, and we try to give her some time to talk about Peyton Walker Foundation every now and then. And we're kind of sourcing her now. She couldn't make it on tonight, but she'll be on soon, and we'll give her 5 or 10 minutes. We'd love to support what she's supporting, and she's a friend of ours, Julie Walker. So we'll talk to her sometime in the near future. Okay, so tonight's Gazette Sports Chat guests are 3 of the Mid-State's most successful and respected girls high school basketball coaches, each of whom just days ago led their teams to a highly coveted PIAA District-3 championship. Learn about what it takes to get through a tough regular season, as they all did, and in order to have them prepared for a successful postseason run. We'll also go back and look at the entirety of their coaching careers, which include 900 wins. They probably don't even know this, in 57 seasons collectively. 900, that's a nice clean number. And everybody's got a pretty good amount, too, of that. It's our pleasure to allow our Town Gazette Sports viewers to learn more about the journeys of York Suburban's Jess Weaver, Trinity's Kristi Britten, and Dallastown's Jay Rexroth. Welcome, coaches.
Thank you.
Thank you. Did I get that all right? You're respected and successful, right? Okay. No, I know that. So anyway, what a thrill. I mean, John and I, we've been excited about this, and we had Paul Blackburn and Snip Esterly on the boys' side. So out of the 12 champions, we talked to 5 coaches in the span of just days, and that's just awesome. So why don't we start with we'll start with Coach Weaver, Jess Weaver of York Suburban, 23-3 season coach overall, 11-1 in YA2. That's York Adams 2. You captured your second straight District 3 5A title, and the school's second overall. So you're it. You've got them both for your school. Talk about how number 2 feels and how it may have a different feeling than last year's first ever title.
Well, getting the first one was tough. Getting the second one was a much different journey. They're never the same, but they're equally as special. We battled a lot of adversity this year. Heading into the season, we lost Janae Rissmiller, 4-year starter, 1,000-point scorer, to graduation. So early in the season, I felt like we were trying to adjust to losing her. And I felt like we had just gotten over that hump in early December. I thought we were starting to really play well when senior Lydia Powers tore her ACL. Also close to 1,000-point scorer, 4-year starter, really, kind of the heart and soul of the team. And so we had to, put the pieces of the puzzle back together again mid-season, which, is something I had not had experience as a head coach. I've dealt with injuries before, lots of transitions, lots of kids, filling different roles, but not at that time in the season. So, my staff and I kind of met. We said, we have 2 ways to go about this. We have a bunch of young kids, a bunch of sophomores. We can kind of just let it ride and see how it plays out, or we can really push, and we can get these kids out of their comfort zones. We can challenge them, and try to elevate their games as much as possible to fill Lydia's role and to continue to try to reach the standard that the program has set. So we went the more aggressive route for sure. And it was hard. I think it was a lot harder than people probably see. I think they see the record. I think they see the district championship, and, they don't think much of it, but behind the scenes, it was a lot for the kids, and we really challenged them. And they stepped up to the plate. They didn't flinch. There were hard days. There were practices that involved a lot of tears and a lot of challenges. But this team's really gritty. That's the best way I can describe them. And we just kind of narrowed things down for them and focused on 3 things. And that was playing championship level defense, playing for each other and trusting each other in new roles, and just finding a way every night. And they bought into those 3 things. And I thought we got a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better as the season went on. And, got the job done, last week. But we have new goals. It's a new season. And, we're excited to play on Saturday.
Thank you very much. Great answer. And I thought you played maybe the best of, or the highest championship level defense of all the teams I watched down there, because I knew what you were up against. You had some scores on Middletown, and we'll get into that later, but you really, really cut down the best scores there. And and I wanted to mention too that Lydia Powell, she was your second leading scorer last year. She was leading the team in scoring this year when she got injured. And, just I don't even know how else to put it, just the cloud that it puts over everybody, especially the player. And our other two coaches, Jay Rexroth and Kristi Britten, they had the same challenges with Lauren Trumpy and Emma Kostelak-Lauer recently with Emma. And then was it Deshante Edwards and Alana Dow, who's still with it. So it's not uncommon, especially with these girls. But when that happens, you first feel so badly for the player, for the student athlete. And then it's just everybody has to kind of adjust to it and keep their chins up and support the player and love her and keep trying to win. And it's not easy. So my hat's off to you, to Coach Weaver. How about Coach Britten? 19-6 overall now. Lost some games, but you really, once again, I had Ashley Berkheimer on just a couple weeks ago, and I talked about how challenging your schedule is every year. And you lost to some really good teams, 14-0 in the Mid-Penn Capital Division. You captured your 8th District-3 title. And I'll ask you the same thing. How does number 8 feel, and what makes it different than numbers 1 through 7, Coach?
I don't know if I can.
I don't need to know every 8 of them.
I mean, no, that was really good, Jess. It's I assume every coach has kind of the same answer. Everyone is special. Every team is different in the makeup, in their strengths and weaknesses. This team, it was special for them. The only person on our team who had been to the Giant Center previously was KK Stayer, our one senior. So, so it was a new experience. The coaches joke about, the Hoosiers movie and the experience, like when you walk in and you look at this big Giant Center in the dome, but it's still a 10-foot rim, et cetera, et cetera. And the girls look at us like we have 5 heads, because some of them don't even know what Hoosiers is, the movie.
Of course not.
Of course you're dating yourself. But
right.
So, we, like you mentioned, Emma Kostelak-Lauer is back this year from her ACL, as well as Abby Stair. So Abby Stair was out.
Yep,
with her ACL. So, so it was pretty special for them and for the group as well.
That's a different feeling down there at Giant Center. And I know that our next guest that we're going to bring in has felt that twice now, but more recently it kind of turned out a lot better. But, for those kids, and even though sometimes the seats aren't that full, and it doesn't matter, you're in a really big arena. And when you walk out from the tunnel, it's like, this is, it's different than probably anything you've ever experienced as a kid, at least as a student athlete. So Jay Rexroth, Dallastown, ninth year head coach. Now we'll bring in Jay, who we may have reason to celebrate the most here after a 20-win regular season, which included a York Adams 1 title. His team went on to capture the York Adams tournament title, and then this past Friday, the District-3 Class A championship. So that's the trifecta for you, Coach Rexroth. Your first District-3 title, the school's first District-3 title on the boys or the girls side. Coach Rexroth, are you done pinching yourself yet? It's okay to pinch yourself, by the way.
It's sort of strange, though, that the crazy part is we went on Thursday, and Friday we're in the car driving to Philly to scout our state opponent. And I don't know if it will really sink in until the season's over. I mean, it's a huge accomplishment for our kids, and I don't think they really understand the history they're making here at Dallastown with most wins in school, in the school history, district title. So again. It's funny because I heard Danny Hurley say this after they won the national championship. It's like, it's the goal, it's the goal, it's the goal. And then when you get there, it's sort of like, okay, it's special. But again, we really, when I get away from it, maybe it'll set in a little bit more and I'll appreciate it a little bit more. And I do appreciate it, but I'm just so locked in on our next game and trying to get ready for those guys. And, we actually have our banquet on Sunday, so that'll probably help a little bit. I hope we're still playing. I hope they can go to the banquet and say our season's not over. We're still playing if we win Friday. But for this group, amazing group, as everybody says, their groups are special. Sort of like a really interesting thing is we were there last year, had a different kind of team, probably more athletic team, less skilled against Central Dauphin, who was loaded, very good team. We lose by 10 of them. And again, it was definitely an eye-opening experience to walk out on that floor for our kids to look around and like, geez, we're really here. And I think, last year was like, we're just happy we made it because we actually had to beat Lebanon at Lebanon for the second year in a row.
They're good.
Get there. And, this year, coming through the districts, we had Cedar Cliff, then we had to play Wilson, who's unbelievably tough. Then we had to play Lebanon and then, play Redline for the 4th time. I think when we got there, it was more like, hey, let's take care of business, and we're not overwhelmed by this beating Giant Center and all this stuff. And obviously, we're super excited. Kids were super excited when they won, but it was more of a business trip, and I hate that unfinished business stuff. But
right.
It was sort of like this year's team wasn't as athletic, but more skilled, more shooters on our team this year. Kid named Campbell O'Neill hit a huge 3. Redline made a run. She had a huge 3 in the 4th quarter to give us a 5-point lead, and then we sort of expanded on that. So, I mean, the thing that sort of set our season in motion really is we had a ton of expectations. We won it 2 years in a row. Everybody said, you're going to win it again. And I knew there was a lot of really good teams up there. We went to Hempfield tip-off tournament. We beat Cumberland Valley. We beat Reading, who's a very good team. And then we go to Redline, first league game of the season, and we go over there and play absolutely horrible. I mean, we play really bad. They beat us. It jumpstarts their season. They go on a great run. It wakes our kids up, and we play really well then coming through, and we end up, our second loss was up at Wilson, a crazy game where we held them to 13 points in the first half, and they scored 39 points in the second half, which is a game for us. Our defense usually doesn't let that many points. And that, again, it was a smack to the face for our kids. And now we've just locked in and played a bunch of really good people and found a way to get there. And, again, really focused on tomorrow night. Last year we won our first state game, and we want to continue that and hopefully continue in the bracket.
Well, we wish you well. John, we'll bring you in. John Velios.
Yeah, congratulations to all 3 coaches, and it's an honor to have you guys on this show with us tonight. Joe, does the sound okay there?
Yeah, a little echoey, but it's clear. I think we can hear. Everybody can hear you. That's fine. Yeah.
I'll go to Coach Weaver. What are you've won back-to-back district titles now? What are some of the team activities that you do to build rapport among your teams?
Good question.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it just starts a lot with the word culture. And, that's always been important for us here at York Suburban, dating way back before I became the head coach. I mean, there's been a lot of good head coaches before me, Bob Rudisil being one of them, Jim Archer. And I think the culture has always been a good one in this program. One where we talk about being unconditional teammates. We spend time off the floor, trying to become a family first, a team second. So I think that's, been established for a long time. We work hard at it. The off season is not a time to take a break. We work hard. We, again, we try to, attend team camps, summer leagues, which, most programs do, but, we try to work hard to become a family, and we kind of developed a motto the last couple of years that, we don't want to play with each other. We want to play for each other. And, if you could work hard at developing that bond, that's going to transpire on the court. And so, the culture is super, super important to the program. And then with that, we've talked about the standard here at York Suburban that we've worked really hard to earn over the past few years, and continuing to elevate it. And it's kind of like the next group doesn't want to let that fall, doesn't want to let that drop. You talked about, we've been to the Giants Center the past 3 years. And it's like now it's a little addicting. And, it's like the next group of seniors, the next group of kids that put on that uniform, they don't want to be the team that doesn't get there, that doesn't meet the standard, that doesn't exceed the standard. So, it's a good balance of having and establishing a really good culture. And that's a credit to the kids who do that. I don't do much with that. That's them buying in and being great kids and great, student athletes. But also having kids that are driven and gritty and want to continue to see the program evolve. So, we're 0-2 in the first round of states, 0-3 in the first round of states the last 3 years hosting. So for us heading into Saturday, we also have some unfinished business. And, we want to take the next step. We're going to play a very good opponent. We know that every team coming out of the Whippy Olden States is tough, regardless of their seed. We found that out the past 3 years, but I think this is the group that's ready to earn the next step at the state level, hopefully.
Thanks, Coach. John?
Thanks, Coach. Yeah, Coach Rexroth, congratulations on your first district title. And I know you. Over the years, I've seen your team play and compete, and every year you're in the playoffs, you're competing. And I know Coach Randy Gamboloni speaks highly of you and your teams over the last few years. What do you think? I think you already mentioned it, that what got you over the hump this year. You had, you said that last year's team was more athletic, but this year you had better shooters, and that probably helped get you over the hump. What do you think has been your biggest challenge to this year to overcome and get you over that hump? That like something that might have happened that you were able to get the girls to just overcome and get to where they need to get this district title?
I think our biggest challenge coming into the season was really having people accept new roles, playing different roles, and developing our bench a little bit more. We still basically play 7 people. But that 7th person that plays more minutes now, early in the season, she wasn't real confident, wasn't really playing well. But down the stretch in the county playoffs and a lot of our district games, Sophia Skovich, as I'm mentioning, she came in and made some big plays for us. And again, she's a junior, but again, hadn't seen a lot of varsity time, and just developing her confidence and her understanding that we believe in her and her teammates believe in her was huge. And I think just, when kids become seniors, something happens to them. Really, it really does. It's something special. You really can't explain it. But this group, we have 5 seniors and 2 juniors that play most of our minutes, and they were just mentally tough, physically tough, and it was an unspoken goal. Basically, we don't really talk about that stuff. People talk about, well, you guys won 3 county championships in a row. It's a brand new year, brand new team, and we're focused on what this team can do, not what the teams in the past did. And for those guys, they found a way to get the county championship and then get into the district final and win it. Again, like I said, give a ton of credit to the kids. Those guys are the ones that are getting it done on the floor for us.
Thanks, Coach.
Do you have one for Coach Britten? If you don't, I do, John. Go ahead.
Congratulations, Coach. And Coach, you've been at this a long time, and you had a lot of success over the years.
I think I referred to her as a mother hen one time a few years ago, didn't I? Wasn't that you?
That was me. Yes.
You just happen to be the coach with the longest tenure on the whole day.
You can say it was the oldest. Yes, I get it. All right.
Longest tenure. Go ahead, John. I'm sorry.
So I know your passion for coaching and the student athletes that you coach. How difficult is it balancing your home life, your work life, and your coaching life?
It's gotten easier, I guess, over the years, because our kids now. So I remember going to Trinity practice with, two of those car seats that you stick over your arms, and then our little toddler, they were 1, 2, and 3, and sitting the 2 car seats in the corner, and the 3-year-old is, quote unquote, in charge and watching them. So, and back then too, we physically went everywhere to watch teams, to scout. So now, I mean, it's still great, to watch everybody live, of course, but it's a lot easier that everybody live streams and everybody is willing to share video, so you can really take in a lot of information. I wish that luxury was available when our 3 kids were toddlers. So I think, for me, and just, I've grown and matured and learned a lot over the years and kind of settled in a little bit. So, all of those different aspects have made it a little bit easier to manage. Our kids are in their 20s now. So,
right.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Okay, so I have a kind of a question here. I'm going to ask you all the same question because I think it's pertinent to the 3 of you being together with us tonight. Coach Weaver, you have 13 seasons as a head coach now, all at York Suburban. You reached 200 career wins just 2 weeks ago, right? Right around 2 weeks ago. It's a lot of wins. Added.
Not a lot Britten. Compared to these 2 legends tonight,
but you helped them get to 900. You helped the group of you get to 900 total. Okay, so that's a big deal. But to the 2 District-3 titles, of course. Tell us about York Suburban, the school, and why you're there. You have a brother who coaches there, right? The boys, and you have a daughter who plays. Is that correct?
That's correct.
It's kind of like, really, it's not kind of. It is all in the family there at York Suburban. What keeps you going back to York Suburban? What makes you stay there?
Well, I graduated from here. I played here. And I think Mitch, my brother would echo the same kind of thoughts that I have, and that we both had great experiences here, playing in the basketball programs, and, went on to play in college. And, it worked out that we both ended up back here when there were positions available and things like that. But I think both of us, ultimately wanted to give back to the place that gave us so much. As high school players. And so, I can't imagine a place that we would rather be. And it's family, it's all we know. It's deeply rooted for us. We're very passionate. It really does mean the world to us. And like I said, we're so fortunate to have just great mentors and coaches. I mean, he got to play, for Tom Triggs and play for, Joe Hassenfuss, legends. And, I got to coach with Bob Rudisil, and I spent some time with Jay too, who was here for a little bit. And so, I think while York Suburban means the world to us both, we've both been very fortunate to have had the opportunity to play for great coaches here, to work with great coaches. And we just want to make sure we're continuing to give back, to do things the right way. For the district. It's a good place to be. It really is. We have great kids. I like, Jay and Kristi, I know they both feel the same way, but I can't speak highly enough about the kids I've coached in the past here and the kids I coach now. They're special. And they make my job so easy and awesome. I love it every day. I'm planning on sticking around for a while, I think.
I bet you are. So before I move on to Jay with the same question, I would be remiss not to mention that I watched you guys go up against each other last year. That was a heck of a game. And, as it turns out, Coach Rexroth takes his team to a district championship. So you got over that loss, Coach. But, man, what a pressure cooker that was. That place was packed. It was at York Suburban, not a seat in the house remaining. It was loud as can be, and the energy level. And you kind of took it to him that night. one going away, they call a game like that, right? You guys kind of started clicking in the set. I got in my car. I forget who I was talking to. If I watch a really good game, I make a call as soon as I get in my car, and I call one of my high school basketball buddy. I don't know who it was, but I'm like, oh my gosh, you should have seen the game I just saw. and your girls played well too, Coach Rexroth. I mean, it's not all about York Suburban, but we gotta work on making that an annual game there, So let's move on to Coach Rexroth. You have an extensive history at Dallastown High School, 38 and a half years we determined as a teacher there. You coached the boys program for 17 years and now the girls for 9. In total, you're just shy of 400 wins in your career, boys and girls. What about the Dallastown High School experience, what you've experienced there keeps you coming back, Coach?
Well, just like Jess, I graduated from Dallastown, went over and played basketball at Millersville, and then was offered a teaching job when I came back. And I was fortunate enough to get hired as the junior high coach for a guy named Roy Skerber, who sort of a legendary guy around here for anybody who knows him, and learned under him. And then he was here for I think I was worked with him for about 6 years, and then he stepped down, and I took over the boys' job. Again, 30 some years old, not a clue what I was doing, trying to figure it out on the fly, and I didn't have many people to help me. It was like sink or swim, and we struggled the first couple of years, and then we started to figure it out. And Jess had already mentioned a guy named Bob Rudisil, who a good friend of mine, and that's when the boys at Kennerdale were really good. They had Adam Miller and all those guys, and our season was over, so I'd drive to Kennerdale and go down and watch his practices and learn from him and just talk a lot of basketball. And then did a lot of work just going to clinics and going down and working Rick Pitino's camp and, learning a lot of things, Billy Donovan, meeting with those guys and, learned a lot of that stuff. And again, I was in the program for 23 years, 17 as the varsity coach. And then I stepped away thinking I would never be a head coach again. And lo and behold, after a year, I went and helped my buddy Troy Lockhauser at Dover for 3 years, super successful there. And then we're family friends. Our kids are the same age. When his daughter and my son graduated, I said, I'm done. I'm going to be done. And then my niece, Molly Day, played for Jess. And Jess and I got together in the summer one time and talked about let's do a little X and O and talk basketball. And Jess was just starting out, trying to figure things out as well. And that led into working with her for 2 years. Again, super successful, a lot of fun. When you talk about culture, she has that down pat. I mean, she does a great job with that. Then all of a sudden, the Dallastown job opened, and I was not interested. I turned it down like 3 or 4 times, and then they finally came to me and said, because I was done being a head coach. I was assistant's the way to be. It's a great job because you don't have to deal with parents, anything like that. So a former player of mine, John Jameson, his daughter Ava, I coached all 3 of his daughters. He came to me and asked. I said, well, let's see, and then finally our AD came to me and off the record showed me who had applied. And I said, oh my gosh, you can't let somebody like that get it, because nobody was qualified. Because at that point, Dallastown's program was sort of in turmoil. It was a pretty toxic environment, unfortunately, with the parents and the coach. And I said, I'll take it for 1 year. I said, I'll come in for 1 year and help you guys out, and then you guys find a head coach. Well, 1 year turns into 9 years. All right. So I've been super lucky to have really good coaches on my coaching staff and really good players. I mean, from Sam Miller to Julia Sutton to DeShante Edwards to Bria Beverly to Anaya Matthews, Grace Matthews. Just been really fortunate to have some
many great players.
Yeah, so, when you have good players, it makes you look really smart. Put it that way.
So, and let me just throw this in or ask you about this. Let's rewind 35 years ago, give or take. You almost had enough after like a few weeks of your first season with the boys, right?
I guarantee it.
You were like weeks into this job, and I was doing some reading, a little research, and you thought this might be one and done for me, right?
I'm telling you, it was Christmas and things weren't going well, and I thought, what did I get myself into? And that's the thing, when you don't know what you're doing, it's not good. And we slowly figured it out, and somehow 1 year after another keep coming back.
Right,
but,
right.
I'm winding down. I'll put it that way. I'm not going to be one of those guys that's a Jerry Eckenrode that's here when you're 70 years old. So I'm winding down here, and so I'm just enjoying it. Like I said, I'm on a 1-year contract. We'll see it in the spring. We'll see what happens if I come back or not. We'll still do the great job to keep working with the kids, but we'll see if what my next move will be.
Well, they're not going to let you go easy. They're going to try to keep you there the same way as they tried to get you to take the job.
Right.
Okay. Coach Britten, you played for legendary Trinity head coach Harry DeFrank. And you might have a relationship with him that no other of his players had, because then you coached under, and you were a high-level point guard, right?
I was a point guard, yeah. High level. I don't know.
You could ball, you could play. I was told that. So anyway, I was told you could play. You were good. Then you coached under Coach DeFrank for 10 years, and now have led the program for the past 18 seasons. I've seen you over at Trinity for other things. I saw you taking photos at a football game, and I was just kind of like, man, this woman is all in over here at Trinity. You just bought in many years ago to the whole Trinity experience, and I know that you love it. Tell us what Trinity High School means to you, Coach.
Yeah, I think it was really cool just listening to Jess and Jay, because all of our stories are very similar. We all have a deep loyalty to the schools that we graduated from, and feel that it's important. It's almost like our duty to give back, and we all want to be there. Like, I want to be at Trinity. I feel like the culture there, the faith-based education that they provide is important to me, and I love that it's important to the people around me, and so my longevity there is not because I don't want to be there. Like, I have a lot of loyalties there, a lot of longevity. I'm a shutterbug, so I love to take pictures. So I was on the sideline of the football field, and do the same for volleyball. They went to the state championship this year, and and I was there able to do that for them. So I stepped in and taught I'm an engineer by degree, but they needed help. We had a teacher that left, so I stepped in and taught a very basic math class for a year, just to help out. If somebody's away in the office, they'll call me and I'll go in. So I'd bend over backwards for the school.
I think I know that part of your story with the school is, though, you have some children that went there and played sports at a high level. Can we give you a minute or two to talk about them? That's part of the whole deal for Coach Britten, right?
Yes. So all 3 of our kids graduated. I'll make it as succinct as possible. Our daughter is her senior year. She was named at Pennsylvania Athlete of the Year, or I don't remember what it was, but and she led her team to the first volleyball state championship. Our son, our middle child, our son placed, I want to say, 3rd in states. I 2nd in states. He's a hurdler, so he went on to hurdle up at St. Francis. And then our youngest son was the football player, and he was a lineman for Trinity, and looking at smaller Division I programs. And then unfortunately, the very last game, the state semifinal of his junior year, he tore his ACL and had the surgery. He was on track to come back, maybe not the opening game of his senior year, but hopefully mid-season. And then he was 3 months into rehab at physical therapy and tore it again. So kind of a bummer story for him. And so he's up at Penn State main campus now, studying engineering and doing really well. He actually interns for Coach Hill, for Jordan Hill, up at Penn State with the football team. So
he fell forward then, right? That doesn't sound like a bad place to recover.
Yeah. I mean, it was there was definitely a gray, confusing period.
Absolutely,
did he want to continue? Did he want to go to a junior college or to walk on somewhere? And then my husband played football at a very high level, and it just takes a toll, especially a lineman. I mean, it takes a toll on your body. He was inevitably, something else was going to happen if he had pursued it in college. So we weren't health-wise. I see what my husband's going through now with knees and neck and elbows and joints and stuff. So health-wise, we weren't all that sad, that he stepped away, but that was his decision to make. And he's pretty happy now. So
sounds like he landed on his feet, though. He's up at
It all
Penn
worked
State.
out.
That's great experience up there with
Yeah.
Coach Hill. So good.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
John
thanks.
Velios?
I know you mentioned it briefly about assistant coaches. So this is pretty much a question for all the coaches here. I mean, how vital are your assistant coaches in your daily lives? Like, I mean, would you have attained your district titles this year without your quality, I'm assuming, assistant coaches?
Let's start with Coach Weaver.
Yeah.
No way. No way. Like I've mentioned before, I've been super fortunate to have great assistants in the past. Jay definitely being one of them. I learned so much from him, just about preparation, the defensive end, how to challenge kids, but do it the right way. So again, I think, as you get older into this longer and longer, you really see how important who you surround yourself with is. It's vital. And, the past couple of years, I've had just an excellent staff. Denton Seneft is my lead assistant. He came over from West York, could absolutely be a successful head coach anywhere. But just really fortunate to have him. He has just an intense passion for the game. He's great with the kids. He brings out the best in them. Great X's and O's guy too. He's become truly like part of my family. Really, really close, have a great relationship with his family. Another assistant and my JV coach is Brandon Gerber. Coach Rexroth mentioned Royce Gerber a little bit ago. That's Royce's son, Brandon. And, he's been around the game since he was, a baby practically with Royce. And so he, again, brings a passion to it, a history to it, loves the kids, is in it for all the right reasons. And I have two young assistants on staff this year, Angie Hawkins and T. Jenrette, and they're just kind of getting into it. So it's fun. I have some veteran staff members, and then I have some younger coaches that, bring a fresh perspective, and all the dance moves and everything like that. I don't know what to do anymore. Yeah, I mean, you're only as good as your players and the staff that you surround yourself with. So I'm very fortunate. A lot of those wins and the success over the years goes back to the players and the staff. Absolutely.
Thanks, Coach. Coach Rexroth, tell us about your dance moves. Your assistants.
I have no dance moves. Again, just like Jess said, and I say it at the banquet every year. I say to meet the team. I think I have the best coaching staff in District-3. John Jameson, Troy Lockhauser, Brian Harbaugh, Molly Day, and Sam Miller. The latter two had played for me, or I'd helped coach them. All those guys, and even the young ladies, will eventually or could be head coaches. And John and Brian and Troy could definitely be very successful head coaches. And it's nice because I don't have to watch all the film. Those guys will take games, break them down. They'll throw suggestions out. In practice, it's a nice part where I can just take a group of kids, send them to the other end. With those guys, it's not like I need to be watching what they're doing, because I know they're doing exactly what we want to have done. Our kids respect them big time. The assistant role with girls is a huge thing because of the relationship those guys can have, with Sam and Molly close to the player's age, and obviously former players. And then being an assistant, a male assistant, they can have a relationship and talk, where sometimes the head coach is the bad guy sometimes. And, that assistant role is perfect. And when I was with Jess, I was that guy. She was the tough guy. She was the bad cop. I was the good cop. So, because I never had to deal with who wasn't playing, who was playing, any of that stuff. And I had great relationship with kids on those teams. And that's where like Troy and John and Brian have that with our kids. And again, like Jess says, you're not successful without really good coaching staff. And just from an X and O and defensive and matchups on who you're going to match up with and suggestions during the game. And if you ever watch our games, if there's a timeout, it's not me immediately going to the bench. It's me coming out onto the floor with my assistants. We discuss for 10, 15 seconds, what do you guys think? And then go back and approach the team and talk to them. So it's definitely a group effort. And I say it all the time. it's far from the Jay Rexroth show. I mean, those guys have as much impact as I do on our success.
Boy, that Sam Miller, she was a problem for opposing coaches and opposing players. Oh, my God. I've watched all your players play because I've been following you for all the 9 years you were there. Man, she was really good. Yep. She had built like a power forward, but she had guard skills, and that's hard to deal with.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, she's an excellent coach. I mean, excellent coach.
I bet she is. Okay, Coach Britten, I just announced your mid-pen tournament semifinal game a couple 2-3 weeks ago, and I had a lot of coaches to announce that night. You have a paddock full. So tell us about the importance of your coaches in your life and in your team's life.
Yeah, I do. Are there 9, 8 or 9?
There was quite. We had to get a few extra chairs out. Just to,
I know, but I think that speaks for Trinity.
Absolutely.
We have a couple of my coaches are parents whose daughters have graduated from our program, and they wanted to get involved. It's funny. I feel not funny, but I feel totally empowered when I'm standing with them, pregame, and because they're all like 6'2", 6'3", 6'5", like they're all enormous people. I'm about 5'5", so
you're the point guard.
Yeah, they're all surrounding me, and I feel empowered by them. But, and so much experience and knowledge. 2 of them were successful high school coaches themselves. I've got a former college coach, on the staff, a couple Division I players, that have come back and are giving back to the program. I even this is my first year. I even have a McDevitt.
I know you do. I was going to ask you about that.
I know. No, Liv Fassick. She was a great player for McDevitt.
Boy, she could play.
UPJ, and she's on staff with me now. And she's been great.
Good.
So yeah, it's the knowledge, and I mean, just what the other 2 coaches have said. Everybody knows that it's not a one-man show. You need a village, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so let's kind of close it out this way. Well, before we go on to that thing we talked about before the show, let's give you all a chance to talk about who you're playing in this first round. We don't want to give anybody any locker room fodder, that's for sure. Not that anybody from District 7 or wherever else these teams are from are watching, but Coach Weaver, Bethel Park, you're the number 1 seed out of District 3. That earns you the number 8 seed out of District 7, the Whippeal. Bethel Park, what can you tell us about Bethel Park?
They're solid. Like I mentioned before, if you're drawing a team in 5A out of the Whippeal, top to bottom, they're solid. They can compete. Records really don't mean anything coming out of that area. Have a kid going to Frostburg, have a kid going to RPI in Boston, both averaging double digits, big time scorers. They've had some real big wins this year. So it's gotta be a challenge. And we need to learn from the past. We were the number 1 seed last year, lost to Indiana in the first round, and, we're the 2 seed the year before that, and lost to Mars in the first round. So we have a ton of respect for Bethel Park and anybody coming out of that area. So we have to defend, and we have to find ways on the offensive end and hope the rest takes care of itself.
Yeah, I think, and I follow high school sports pretty extensively. I think District 7, like the 5A classification for boys and girls in all sports, is kind of their strong spot, their strong suit. I know that the 5A in football is really, really good, and I know that the girls' sports, there's not a lot of 6A schools out there, and they have a lot of 5A schools like we have 6A out our way. So, I don't think you're going to get an easy game out of any of those 5A schools. That's for sure. How about Coach Rexroth, Abington? And I think we talked before we went on the air. They're the number 11 seed, which you earned. I mean, you earned an 11 seed. You won the district. They're the number 11 seed out of District 1, but we watched a Souderton team out of District 1 in 2017 take their number 11 seed to the final seconds of the state semifinal game. So I don't think you get a gift if you start with a District 1 school, do you?
No, you don't. So we were fortunate enough to go down Friday and see them play Spring Ford at Spring Ford. And again, Spring Ford's the runner-up in the state last year. Now, they lost some people, but still, I think they were 20-9 going into that game. And Abington has 3 really good players, all averaging 12 or 14 points. They have a really crafty point guard who's going to be a handful. They have 2 kids that, do a lot of their scoring, shoot the 3 well, drive it to the rim. The crazy part is we were down scouting the game, and I looked across and I saw Mike Clark from Governor Mifflin, and I thought, what is he doing here? He came over at halftime when we talked. His daughter is the Abington's head coach.
Oh, wow.
So if you ever seen Governor Mifflin play, Abington's very similar. A lot of 2-3, a lot of 3-2, some full court pressure.
Physical.
So very similar style. We'll have to play really well defensively and obviously attack their zone. Hopefully we can knock some shots down and lock them down on defense. That's our style is to, hopefully we keep them in the 30s and, we can outscore them a little bit. So again, like I said, 11 seed out of District 1 is comparable to a 3 seed in District 3.
I totally agree. Totally agree. Well, we wish you well. And Coach Kristi Britten, you are the number 1 seed out of District 3 in 3A. You are the number 5 seed out of District 12, ML King. What do you know about ML King?
Yeah, ML King is a well-rounded, solid team out of District 12. Not a typical, I would say, when somebody says, "Oh, you're playing a team out of Philly," everybody thinks, "Oh man, team out of Philly." But I would say in 3A, the 1, 2, and 3 seed are there's a pretty big drop off after that. So hopefully, I don't want to sound too confident, but hopefully we won't have maybe as rough of a road as our other 2 coaches here. So I wish you guys luck. But pretty confident that if we play well and everybody's dialed in, we can get past the first round.
Good. Well, we wish you well, Coach. Okay, so I was kind of on the fence before we started here. Coach Britten knows what keeping it light is. I've interviewed a handful of her coaches or student athletes, and we've done keeping it light. And so what these questions are, they have nothing to do with your schools, with your teams, probably. I don't think they will, or with your coaching styles. This is going to be fun stuff, and we're going to learn a little bit more about you guys outside of the lines here. So let's start with, and I thought these guys are going to be fun, so we'll do keeping it light. So you guys were fun, so we'll do it. All right, so let's go.
I can't think quick enough for it.
Okay, I'll ask you easy ones then. Okay, what's your, Coach Britten, let's start with you. What's your go-to meal? Let's just say it's your birthday, and somebody says, I'm going to take you out. I love you, Coach, or I want to take you out for whatever you want. What are you eating? What's your meal?
Steak and baked potato.
Oh, wow. That's great.
That one all right, I got that one.
Okay. I'm going out next week for my birthday, and I'm having steak and baked potato, just so you know. All right, so that's not that tough, right? What do you have for dessert? What do you like in the sweets dessert department?
Vanilla ice cream.
That's good.
So boring.
Okay, so Coach Rexroth, you're up, buddy.
All right.
Do you watch television?
I do.
Do you like to watch series? Like, do you binge at all? Do you watch these series, like these stream series, or?
My wife enjoys that, so sometimes I'll sit and watch.
By proxy, right? By proxy.
Yeah, I'll sit and watch, and sometimes glance at my phone, and also be watching that as well. But
are there any that you've liked over the years? Any series?
It's an old one, but we watched Scandal.
Okay.
That was really, really good. The Americans. Trying to think of anything else. I can't think of the one.
No Sopranos, Boardwalk Empire.
We binged The Sopranos.
Okay, yeah, you got to binge The Sopranos.
So that was good. So yeah, whatever she puts on, normally it's something I'll enjoy. So
that's good.
We'll watch that.
That sounds good. Okay, let's go to Coach Jess Weaver. All-time favorite athlete, any sport, any level.
I got to go with Michael Jordan, but you see my Duke pennant behind.
I see the Duke pennant, yeah.
One of my all-time favorite college athletes was Steve Wojciechowski from Duke. Short, little guy, just defended like crazy. If you go back and watch his highlights, he's the guy slapping the floor, when he's guarding the ball as it comes up the court. He was my favorite when I was younger just because he loved the defensive end, but Michael Jordan tops them all for me.
How about, do you remember Spencer Hubbard?
Vaguely.
He was kind of end of the bench guy, but Duke
Yeah,
would win.
vaguely.
Really short guy, kind of bushy hair. Duke would win by so much, though. He'd get in the games and he'd get enough minutes, and he'd go nuts on. He was that good, he's about 5'5", I guess. So okay, we'll give you a pass for liking Duke. This is like an NC house, by the way. But no, that's good. That's cool. And then all-time favorite. What's your favorite sports team? Who do you follow besides Duke? We know Duke.
Duke. My family's always loved the Baltimore Orioles. Close in proximity. Not a big NFL person, but we go with the Ravens out of proximity. Sorry, Steelers fans. But I've loved the women's college basketball scene the past handful of years.
Fabulous.
It's amazing what women's college basketball has become and where it's headed for our female athletes. It's awesome. Caitlin Clark's been fun to watch, but there's been a handful of others. I think it's just got to keep getting better, hopefully. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it will. Yeah. Okay, let's go to Coach Britten. Let's find a good one for Coach Britten.
Oh,
all right, celebrity. Now listen, you got to hear this the whole way through.
Oh.
Celebrity crush, or a celebrity you just would like to hang out with. If you don't like the crush part of the question, just a celebrity you'd like to hang out with, who you think would be fun or cool or.
Okay, yeah, this one's kind of easy. So I love the show Modern Family.
Okay.
And Phil, like the kind of goofy, but lovable, and he's like all into his wife, but he's like, just tries to find the good in things. Like I definitely have a celebrity crush on Phil.
Okay, good. you didn't have to think much about that one, did you?
No, because my kids make fun of me for it.
I asked a kid one time, it was a boy, I asked him about the same question. He goes, "Oh, I can't say the crush part, man." He said, "My girlfriend's watching." and that's what we started doing. Well, who's a celebrity you'd like to hang out with?
Yeah.
Okay, Coach Jay Rexroth, bucket list item. What have you not done that you'd like to do someday? Maybe next week, next month, next year, or 10 years from now?
Come back to York Suburban and coach with Jess Weaver. That's his bucket list.
I was already thinking of that. Thinking of that.
He did say He did say the assistant's the place to be.
He did. I heard him say it.
Yeah.
I heard him.
I would like to play in the World Series main event poker tournament in Vegas. That would be something I would like one time in my life. I don't have 10,000 I can waste, but I'd like one time to sit in that room with all those guys and play.
You must have nerves of steel.
That's cool.
Ice water in your veins, man. That sounds like a pressure cooker there. Okay, so last question. Coach Jess Weaver, York Suburban Coach Jess Weaver. This is the question that nobody likes to be asked, by the way. We were talking about giving it to you before you came into the studio.
Thanks,
it might not be hard for you. Favorite
I think
book.
she'll get it. She'll get
Favorite
it.
book.
She'll get it.
Favorite book, The Gold Standard.
There we go.
Man.
Yep.
Love that one.
We asked the right person, didn't we?
Yes,
Tell us about The Gold Standard for somebody at home that might never heard about it.
Go buy it and read it. It's great for players. It's great for coaches. It's awesome.
Okay.
Inspirational.
Great. Okay.
Believe it or not, I have read that, Joe. Believe it or not.
Have you really?
Yes.
But you couldn't have come up with that quickly.
No, I wouldn't have thought that quickly.
Man, that's John. That's an all-timer there. The way Coach Weaver came up with that.
Yeah.
I've literally had coaches that have master's degrees or doctorates, and they'll sit there, coaches in their 30s, 40s, 50s, go, I don't really.
I think she knew you were going to ask that.
I don't think she did. She's new to Lingelstown Gazette Sports.
I had no idea.
Well, that was
I'm
great.
a little embarrassed as a teacher because I'm going to tell you guys I don't love to read unless it's a coaching book or something basketball related.
Yeah, we talked about that too. Yeah, lots of adults don't love to read like sometimes like we did. But anyway, thank you so much, John. That was one of the best things we've done in not 8.5 years, like period. Lingelstown Gazette.
Yeah, thanks so much, coaches. Great job and congratulations.
Yeah. You guys are awesome coaches. Again, very respected. You guys are winners, and thanks for taking the time. I know it's the time of year that you guys don't get a lot of free time, but hopefully you're able to kind of exhale for the last 53 minutes and 58 seconds. And we wish you well. We'll try to keep track of you as you guys move forward.
Thank you very much, Joe.
Awesome job.
It was a lot of fun. We appreciate it.
It was nice meeting you both.
Okay, take care.
Good luck, coaches.
All right, we'll remove the coaches, John, and you stick with me. Did I remove? I removed.
You removed him and not me.
I'm going to remove you now, Coach.
All right. Have a good
Thanks
night.
again. You too. All right. So we got to tell John to jump back in here. So how about that, everybody? The viewers at home. That was really, really enjoyable. And let me get John back in here. So what we're going to do now? There he is. John, I'm sorry, buddy. I just started removing people, and anyway, man, how about that? Wasn't that great?
That was amazing. Yeah. Great coaches. Very humble. All three of them.
All three of them. They were fun too. They were a lot of fun. But and they're like you said, they're great coaches. But you can. How
awesome would it be to play for coaches like that, Joe?
They were making me want to play for them. Like Coach Weaver, when Coach Weaver was talking about the culture and all that, I'm thinking I want to throw some gym shorts on and go play. So
for sure,
John and John, great questions too. I think we between the two of us, we really got some great questions to them, and of course they had some great answers. Let's just take 10 or 15 minutes. I know some people really want to see us cover more girls basketball, and we can't make up for it all in 15 minutes here. But we're going to talk a little bit about the teams that won districts and that are competing in the PIAA tournament. And we'll talk about these Mid-Penn All-Stars too. So appreciate you sticking around, John. And I don't have many people in my realm right now that they could talk girls basketball. So here are the Mid-Penn teams competing in the PIAA girls basketball tournament. We'll start with 3A. There are none in 1A or 2A. 3A is Trinity, of course. Trinity and our most recent guest coach, Kristi Britten. They have a 1 seed, and they're very acclimated to playing in the district or the state championship tournament. Go up to 4A. There's only one 4A team. Boiling Springs has a 5 seed. Then we'll move up to 5A. You have Middletown with a 2 seed. They lost to York Suburban in the district championship game. Northern York, a 5. Did I say a 2 seed for Middletown? Yeah. 5 seed for Northern York and a 7 seed for Lower Dauphin. Good season for Lower Dauphin. I don't know what was expected over there, but I didn't hear a whole lot of hoopla surrounding them going into the season. And here they are still around. And then in 6A, we only have 2 6A teams, and it's Central Dauphin with a 4 seed. Again, they play tomorrow night. They play at Scranton, and then Mechanicsburg got a 6 seed. And Mechanicsburg,
it's sort of hard to believe, Joe. I'm sorry to interrupt you. Sort of hard to believe that there's that many teams.
7. There's 7 teams in 6 classes. Now, there are no 1A schools in this district, but in 6 classifications, there's 7 teams.
Yeah. I mean, it's so surprising. Like usually, you get McDevitt girls team in there.
There's Cumberland Valley.
Valley's usually around.
Susquehanna Township lost the game they had to win, the play-in game or the consolation game, but they're on the rise. Susquehanna Township for sure. Yeah. Coach Jerron Dickerson. Let's just mention Mechanicsburg moved up to 6A in girls and boys, and they held up pretty darn well in their first 6A season. Coach Clay McAllister, and we're going to talk here in just a moment about all the All-Stars he had on this Penn Live All-Star team. But, their boys and their girls say they went from 5A to 6A. And, we've talked about it a lot. That's a big jump.
Huge jump.
It doesn't seem like it is. It doesn't feel like it would be. But to go from 5A to 6A, it's a huge jump. And both of those schools, I mean, you watch the Mechanicsburg CD game, girls game. I mean, and this isn't probably one of Coach Randy Gambolungi's greatest CD teams, but they're still very talented. And very physical and very big. And Mechanicsburg, they took it to them for a while. So I had a chance to see they beat Cumberland Valley earlier in the season. So, let's kind of tip our caps to Coach Clay McAllister and his players. They did more than just showed up and they did more than just competed in their first year in 6A, and they're still alive. And I didn't mention who all the –
And Joe, not just to their credit, they play out of the Keystone Division, which is – easier than playing out of the Commonwealth Division.
Much easier, yeah.
When you move up to 6A and facing these Commonwealth teams, and for them to have the success and play as well as they did, Mechanicsburg girls.
I can't say much. I can't say enough about them. Yeah, and they're going to have Garnet Valley.
They had Center Dolphin on the ropes for
They
a
had
long.
Them on the rope. They had them on the ropes. Yeah, that's the kind of yeah. So they play Garnet Valley, who's the 2 seed out of District 1, at Garnet Valley tomorrow night. That's going to be a tough game, but congrats either way to Coach Clay McAllister and his
good
team.
luck to Mechanicsburg.
Yep, for sure. So how about let's talk about these All-Stars. We'll just kind of wrap things up with these All-Stars, and we'll start with the Colonial, which you and I admittedly don't know a whole lot about the Colonial division because a lot of those schools are not close to us. But the first team was Jayla Kozier from Middletown. Anna Lehman, she's been on the show before. She's a 4-sport star athlete at Northern York, kicker on the football team, by the way. She's first team. Emma Cleland from Middletown, point guard, scored 20 points in the district championship game against York Suburban. Brianna, it's McLiquin from Waynesboro. Sorry if I got that wrong. And Azula Navarro from Shippensburg. That's your first team. Second team, Abby Fries from Northern York. Iris Klein, who's a great softball player too, from East Pennsboro. Delaney Moyer from Northern York. Destiny Gassert, she's the big from Middletown, number 33. She's like the power forward or center player. Meadow Gambakirkta from Greencastle. That's the second team. Third team is Peyton Coy from Shippensburg. Braylon Pearson Moore from Waynesboro. Shay Dyer from West Perry. Journey Stover from Middletown. And Lily Weller from Shippensburg. Coach of the year was Lucas Zambelli from Northern York. It could have been him. It could have been Lasonda Dixon. I mean, they tied. Middletown got to the Mid-Penn via their power ranking over because they tied at 1 loss each and they split during the regular season, did Northern York and Middletown. So congrats to Coach Zampelli and Coach Lasonda Dixon. And I'm going to try to get Coach Dixon on this show. She just had a great season and I like her a lot. And I think she's an awesome woman and a great leader of young women. So we're going to see if we can, once the dust settles, we're going to see if we can get her on the show. And then, of course, Player of the Year, Jayla Kozier from Middletown. So that's your Colonial Division All-Stars. Some really, really good players on there. Let's move to the division that's a little closer to us. We probably know some of these players a little more, and that is the Mid-Penn Capital Division, John. First team, Molly Kimmel. Man, is she a player. She's got forward size. She's got guard skills. And she could do it all. She's a really, really good player out of Boiling Springs. She's first team. J.C. Martin, Susquehanna Township. Emma Kostelak-Lauer of Trinity. She's been on the show. In fact, she was on the same show as Anna Lehman when we did the multi-sport athletes. She's another plays basketball and soccer, both at a very high level. And I love watching her play. She plays point guard the way a point guard's supposed to play point guard. Ashley Berkheimer for Trinity. She's the shooter of the two. She's kind of like a pure 2-guard for Trinity. And then Isabella Jones from Bishop McDevitt. That's your first team. Second team, Maria Tandle from Big Spring. Madison Brownowell from Boiling Springs. Bella Dupes from Trinity. Layla Horshaw from Bishop McDevitt. Elia Barnes from Susquehanna Township. Third team is Yasmin Muhammad from Steel High. Devin Archer from Susquehanna Township. Ophelia Radaball from Big Spring. Ella Osavala from Bishop McDevitt. And Ella Shover from Camp Hill. I forgot to mention, just to give you the numbers, you heard the teams, but Middletown had 4 and Northern York had 3. That's 7 of 15. And in the Capital Division, Trinity, Susquehanna Township, and Bishop McDevitt, John, all had 3. So 3 schools represented 9 of the 15 spaces. And let's move to the Keystone Division. And here we're going to talk about Clay McAllister again. I'm sorry, Coach of the Year, Kristi Britten from Trinity in the Capital Division.
That's coach.
And Molly Kimmel from Boiling Springs. And I mean, she's really good. So congratulations to all of those student athletes and to Coach Britten. And let's move to the Keystone Division. First team, Macy Yanoski. And we had Chance Yanoski, her brother, on. Remember, John?
Right.
We got him to come on as an opening guest like a month ago, 5 weeks ago. Came on, did a great job. And So his sister Macy, who I saw play a couple weeks ago, really good player from Mechanicsburg. Addie Masiolek from Lower Dolphin. Maya Doster from Palmyra. Lauren Lebo from Mechanicsburg. And Elena Sweet from Mechanicsburg. 3 first-teamers from Mechanicsburg, John. Second team, Addie Salas from Palmyra. We watched her play last year. You and I went down and watched Central Dolphin play them the last game of the season, regular season last year. Asha Pratt. Go ahead, John. Mechanicsburg, another Mechanicsburg. They're all guards, pretty much. I mean, Lebo's got forward size, but these are probably maybe all guards for Mechanicsburg. That's the 4th one in the first 2 teams. Lila Karcher from Cedar Cliff, Carly DeCosta from Redland, Angelino Momo from Milton Hershey. And the 3rd team is Mackenzie Peachy from Mifflin County, Alexo Masiolek from Lower Dolphin, and that has to be Addie's sister, I would think, Masiolek from Lower Dolphin. Aubrey Walker Smith, Milton Hershey, Maddie Cavalier, Cedar Cliff, and Michaela Teets, Redland. Coach of the Year, Clay McAllister from Mechanicsburg. Kind of had to be him, I would think. And Player of the Year, Macy Yanoski from Mechanicsburg. Mechanicsburg 4 of 15. And last, and we'll go to the Commonwealth Division here. First team, Milana Iyer, baller from Altoona. Love watching Milana Iyer play. Or Milena, I'm sorry, Milena. I had her on the show, and I think she had to correct me the first time I said her name. It's Milena Iyer. Great job, Milena. Olivia Green from Central Dolphin. Samira Mamadou from Central Dolphin East. She's ready. I think she's only maybe a sophomore, John. I'm not sure, freshman or sophomore. So she made a splash, and we're going to it's going to be nice to watch Mamadou play over the next 2 years. Lainey Wilt from Altoona, and then Sienna Wilson. She's one of the twins from State College. So second team, Lydia Tate from State College. Sienna Mans. I love Sienna Mans as an athlete. She was on our multi-sport athlete show also. Cumberland Valley, yeah. Soccer player also. Brianna Hudson, the freshman from Altoona. Kiana Taylor, the freshman from Central Dolphin. And Zaylin Wynn Moore from Altoona. She's a junior. So out of the first and second teams, Altoona has 4 already. And that's where they're going to finish. They have none on the third team. But third team is Riley Evans from Chambersburg, Michaela Matinchek from Central Dolphin, Jess Hallbaker from State College, Nye Hairston from Carlisle, and Maya Dickerson from Central Dolphin. Altoona has 4. Central Dolphin has 4. State College has 3. So between those 3 schools, they have 11 of 15 in the Commonwealth, as it should be. They were kind of the cream. Those 3 teams were the cream of the Commonwealth. And that's usually how it works out, that you have the most best players, the highest amount of the top players. So,
Coach of the Year, Joe.
Oh, I'm sorry. Thank you. That's why I bring you on, John. Just think, if I didn't have you, I would have forgot all about it. Let's go. Coach of the Year, Chris Flegel from Altoona. No surprise there. And Milena Iyer from Altoona. So
Player of the Year.
Player of the Year. Congrats to Milena and Coach Flegel.
Joe, real quick.
Yeah.
Can you explain to us how these selections are made?
Absolutely. And that's so important. And I'm so glad you asked, John. I mean that. These are selected by the coaches, by their peers.
So they can only vote for their division, right?
They're only vote for their own division, yes.
So Capital coaches are voting for all Capital players.
Absolutely.
And down the line.
Great question. I'm glad we addressed that. Yeah, these are not – Eric Epler is the Penn Live Patriot News. He's the kind of the chief writer for girls basketball, and he is involved in some of that type of stuff. But these particular all-stars were voted on by coaches. And each of these coaches have seen all the opposing teams at least twice. So They had the game plan for them. They had the in-game plan and try to stop them. And, probably the players that were the biggest pains in your butts throughout the season are the ones that you're gonna vote for. I know that Mamadou against Central Dolphin, she was I think she had like 20 points, and CD won big. They won by like 18, but so, and I remember, Coach Gambolongi, and I don't know how he voted. He's a friend of ours. I'm just going to say that I remember him saying, boy, she's really good, that he was impressed by her. That was a month ago or so. But yeah, I don't know how these coaches vote, but I trust that they're probably putting together the teams that probably earned their way there. So that's about it, John. I don't have any more. We're at the 109 mark. That's a long show for us. But we didn't want to rush through the coaches. Again, thank you to York Suburban's head coach, 13th year head coach Jess Weaver. Good luck in states. Kristi Britten from Trinity, 18th year head coach Kristi Britten, and then 9th year head coach with the girls at Dallastown, 17 years with the boys, Jay Rexroth. Again, what an awesome night that this has been for John and myself to have a chance to talk to those coaches and to kind of, the dust has settled a little bit, but it was only 6 or 7 days ago since they won these titles. And so we're excited for them. So let's just thank our Lincolnstown Gazette Sports Platinum sponsors once again: Rickabaw's Electric, Payer Apparel, Ted's Bar and Grill, Freedom Financial Wealth Management, The Tire Mart, Team PA, AAU Basketball, Tonino's Pizza, American Legion Post 272, Hoffman Ford, Capital Region Insurance Agency, Modern Imprint, Sam Hartley Decking, Crystal Bob at Howard Hanna Real Estate, and Underdog Sports Bar and Grill. Thanks once again to those great local businesses for their continued support of Lincolnstown Gazette Sports and our area student athletes. John Velios, thank you very much. That was a great hour and 10 minutes. I had a lot of fun, and we got a lot accomplished there. And we'll reconvene Sunday night at 6:00 with the rest of our crew, with Dave Berman, with Ty Savercool, Coach Ty Savercool, and hopefully we'll be able to get a opening guest, one of the area boys head coaches. Thanks, John. Thanks, viewers. We'll see you soon.